Yes.
Hi, Ken. Bob and Susan Hansen from Eastern North Carolina, not very far removed from Mayberry.
But whereabouts actually?
New Bern, North Carolina.
New Bern?
Yes.
New Bern?
New Bern, way far east where all the hurricanes
Oh,
go.
no. My mom is one of 4 sisters born in Oriental.
No kidding, right
yeah.
across the river.
When New Bern is Oriental is a small shrimping town on the coast of North Carolina, and it has a population of 8. And when you want to get out of
18 now.
It's expanded. When you want to get out of Oriental, you go to New Bern, which is a population of 32. And then from New Bern, it's Greensboro. That's sort of the progression of things out. So how do you like it there?
I'm here, aren't I? Which kind of leads me into my question.
Okay.
But before I do, first, on behalf of myself and my wife, we want to thank you very much for your body of work. To say that it's had a profound impact on our life would be a radical understatement.
Okay.
And also for providing Integral Institute, because as I was telling Susan earlier today, it's sort of like one of those Princess Fairy books. We've been reading you for 5, 6, 7 years, and all of a sudden we open up the book and the characters are coming alive.
Yeah. And it's going really live, as you know. Integral University is going up, and Integral Training Site's going up. It's going to be, from now until Thanksgiving, roughly 50 websites are going up, just like that.
Excellent. And that does sort of lead me into my question. As you know, because you're familiar with Oriental, we're smack dab in the heart of the Bible Belt. And we lack any sort of integral community whatsoever. It's not that we haven't tried to look, but when there's 32 people in New Bern, and most of them are related.
Yeah. First cousins, actually, yes.
It's a scary thing, really.
Yeah.
No, it's a town of about 35,000, actually. But we found no integral community whatsoever. But it's not for a lack of trying.
Yeah.
We once joined a Buddhist study group that was a branch off from the Universalist Unitarian Church locally, and we ran smack into the Mean Green Meme.
Yeah.
They actually brought somebody in to present your work. And to say that they had a visceral reaction to the notion of hierarchies is another understatement. I've recently sent a copy of Quantum Questions to a friend that I've had for many, many years who is an orange scientific materialist. And to say that he didn't quite get it is another understatement.
Which is funny because for those of you who don't know it, the 13 founders of modern physics are included in there. All 13 of them are profound mystics. We're talking Einstein and Bohr, Schrödinger, Eddington. Then they're all in there. And this guy who's like going, well, I don't know if these guys know what they're talking about.
What's this spirit stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any way to have an effective conversation as one who thinks integrally? Or are we just wasting our time in trying to introduce people to these notions? I'm sure it's not an uncommon problem.
Sure. Well, yes, part 1 coming out of New Bern territory makes sense. I can hardly wait to see what part 2 is because I'm sure
I said it's simple.
Can you have an effective conversation, or is it a waste of time? The answer to both those is yes. And one of the things that it should not have taken me 20 years to realize what I'm about to say, but it did, because it can be really dense in some ways. And I also fought the whole notion. And I don't think it was just sort of healthy green or whatever. It's just something rebels. I think something deeply rebels. Maybe it's just because I'm a boomer. But what you rebel against is the idea, well, let me phrase it this way. I thought for so many years that if you simply took all of the evidence, all of the facts, and from all the different areas, and you're scrupulously fair, including all the different points of view, you put it all on the table, they inexorably pointed to an integral view. How else can you make them all work? There is no other way to do that. And if you did that, it, for example, took all of the theories and worldviews of approach A and approach B and approach C, and show that they are all important, all incredibly important, approach A and B and C hate you. Now, I always thought they would thank me. It's like I thought, because I just showed how important it was. No. What I just showed is that their worldview isn't the only real worldview, and they hate you for it. So I thought, well, that sort of puts a damper on the whole project, and it was a real, it was a change in me. I came out of, I had a very really fortunate childhood. I have two terrific parents, and we had sort of ups and downs, of course, but it was very loving. And I was just used to people sort of loving you. And so I walked right into the middle of this thicket and became an object of hatred of A, B, and C for 30 years. And I thought, oh, well, that's not much of a reward. So you have to really readjust and reorient what you're doing about this. And I come back to Robert Kegan's, it's a rule of thumb, many exceptions, but a lot of you know this. If you take any of the really good vertical scales of development, whether it's Kohlberg or Jane Levenger, Claire Graves, or Bob Kegan's, on average, many exceptions, but on average it takes an adult about 5 years to really move through a stage, if they're working on it. Not to mention the fact that most people aren't working on it. So, and I use spiral dynamics just to get across the stunning realization that I had fairly recently, which is embarrassing. But if you have somebody who's at blue, and then you're presenting turquoise thing, okay, blue, orange, green, yellow, turquoise. The way they're going to agree with you is wait 20 years. Now, I figured I don't have that. I'm not going to do, that's not going to happen at a dinner party. You know what I mean? So I figured, okay, that is a waste of time. If you go into it with that, it is a waste of time, and there's almost no other way to put it. It sounds harsh, and we don't want to do it. We're a bit careful about this because there are other lines, and sometimes their cognitive line runs a little bit ahead, and you can sort of plant seeds, a little bit more integral approach. But fundamentally, it's just people are where they are. And again, using spiral dynamics, adults will stop at red or blue or orange or green, and that is their right. And so us going in and saying, okay, what I have to do in order to make you a better person is take your red, scrawny ass and drag it up to yellow. And I'm going, well, if you've got 25 years, go at it. What we do is, it was such a big kind of turnaround, in order to sort of get the extreme version of it, I would say in Integral Institute, I'd say, we're not in the transformation business. It was just a kind of a shock value. Of course, to some degree we are, but because people were coming in, and an initial, totally understandable view is that if you want to produce, like, let's say, an integral leader, and you have, like, let's just say 6 major developmental lines, then an integral leader is you take somebody wherever they are, and in a good month's work, turquoise in all 6. Pow, 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 pow. That's an integral leader. No, that's a superhero from a comic book. So the change was, for us anyway, and I'll talk about the points we can't talk about transformation, but the change was, we, at Integral Institute in particular, we find people that are already at second tier, and we make them better at second tier. We give them the tools to be, if they're already at turquoise, the tools to be better at turquoise. And one of the things is give them a map of the territory they are already at. Give them an aqua map. Now, that alone is enough to really explode their own potential, and they relate to it immediately. People that are at second tier and read my work, 9 out of 10 of them say the same thing. I knew this. They read page after page, I knew that. I knew that. Okay, he wrote it down first, but I knew that. I knew that. I knew that. And I get so many, it used to be postcards and then letters and emails, and they all said, thank you for, now I don't have to write that book. And it's, but it's an honest sentiment. It's their way of saying, I deeply know this, and you know what, they're right. Because it's their territory. I'm just helping them articulate something that's already there. I didn't create that territory any more than Isaac Newton created gravity. He just came up with a little formula, F equals ma, and so on, and that's fine. So that's basically all I've done, is come up with just a little formula, a little map that helps resonate with part of the territory that you're already at. So that's fundamentally what we're doing right now, is trying to find people that are already there, helping them unpack where they already are, a little bit more articulate, and then help create integral institutions. Because the world out there has 50 million people, in the world out there, just in America, 50 million people at Green. There are 50 million cultural creatives. Well, they have their own clubs, their own bridge games, their own mahjong parties. They have their own discussion groups. They have their own alternative, universities. I don't want to take anything away from that. Healthy green is probably one of the single most important things we could have in this culture. Healthy green in the 60s brought in the civil rights movement. It brought in feminism. It brought in ecological protection. It brought in an extraordinary number of very, very positive gains. And then, as it moved into academia and started a healthy career originally, it did what happens anytime you get in power. It basically became an inquisition. And then when it was threatened by other worldviews, it became the mean green meme. It became the green version of the Spanish Inquisition. There's a mean orange mean and a mean purple and so on. But that's basically, we are trying to just create institutions and places where second tier can hang out without getting accosted by people that you've talked about. And that's basically what we want to do. These gatherings right here, the comments we hear most often? There's sort of two of them. They'll say, number one, the best thing about this is the teachers, but even better are the other people. Because you just have a chance to be yourself. You don't have to pull punches. You can say exactly what you think and feel. You can come out of the closet. And basically, people are closet integralists. And, of course, the place you want to come out of the closet is in Newbern. Announce you're gay at the same time. It'll sort of
both go over equally well.
Speed the party along, So that's the 1A. There's 1B before you get to part 2. It's a waste of time. But of course you can talk to those people. But what it becomes then is an exercise in skillful means. The most important thing about learning some of these developmental scales is not that so you can take everybody and yank them up the scale. That's a subtle aggression we have to be very, very careful about. Because what it really says is, I want to transform the world. Which means I'm really going to go in, and if you happen to be first here, my real communication to you is, you're fucked up. That's fundamentally what you're telling a person. Now, we think we're helping. No, I mean, you're fucked up is what we're telling them. And I know how you're fucked up. and so it's like, wow, well, that's a rush. So that's where, and all of us have this happen. That's where the remnants of your ego hide out in second tier. I'm going to transform the world. So you have to be very, very careful about that. And then you get that cleaned out, and then we're going to transform the world. But you have to be... The world is going to do what it's going to do. And of course we want to provide ways that can help that, but we also want to provide ways for people to be at exactly whatever stage they stay at. And so making people healthy orange is one of the... If they're orange, make them healthy orange. If they're blue, help them be healthy blue.